Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic, and today, oh man, Disney just does not seem to be learning its lesson, because this just came out today as the headline shows. This is from news.avclub.com, and it says Rian Johnson's next Star Wars movie could arrive as soon as 2020, meaning 2 years away, meaning 1 year after Episode 9. Now, this makes no sense to anyone, seeing that the news coming out of Lucasfilm has been they're putting things on hold. Now, of course, there's been some people who've said, well, those reports have now been refuted, but we know that there's things going on behind the scenes. Again, you don't have a movie like Solo losing $200 million at the box office, at least, possibly even more at this point, and just decide to go on the same direction. So the people who are now saying this, it's just, to me, I feel like it's just divert. You know, eventually I think they are going to come out and say that Rian Johnson's trilogy has been canceled, that Kathleen Kennedy has stepped down, all these other things. But for some reason, they're just really keeping up with what the narrative has been so far, and it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, again, if you're going to go in this direction still, if you're going to keep going with these same people, with these knuckleheads, as I like to call them, you're going to lose more money. Solo is going to happen again. Anything that Rian Johnson puts out is not going to be seen by a very strong contingent of fans. And let's see what News.AV Club has to say about this, because they always love to throw in jabs at the fan base. So it says, it may seem surprising, given there is a small but painfully vocal contingent of fans out there clamoring for rebellion against Lucasfilm, thanks in part to The Last Jedi, but Rian Johnson might have a new Star Wars film for us all much sooner than anticipated. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. His trilogy is gone. His trilogy is dead if they go forward with it. The reason why I say that is because if they do indeed decide to drag their feet and just to stay as hard-headed as they have been, that trilogy is going to fail. It is going to be like Divergent, where the first film might make a little bit of money, but then every subsequent release is just going to get worse and worse, because this is a man who has vocally attacked the fans just for criticizing his film. He thinks his film is perfect. He thinks his film is amazing. At least that's just how it comes across on social media and on all the interviews that he's done. But when he talks about the fans, he has such hate in his heart for the fan base, and it's just really sad, because again, this is a person who wanted the trilogy, or rather wanted his film to have a 50% approval rating, because he even said it himself several times. He wants to make films that 50% of audiences hate and 50% like. And that's fine, but when you do that with Star Wars, and then 50% of your audience at least hates your film, and then you attack that 50%, that is going to be a problem. Now, some people might say, oh, it's not really 50%, all those numbers. The reason why the numbers on Rotten Tomatoes are so small is because of a small group of crazy people who are making up fake accounts, etc. And okay, you might have a point to an extent, because there is still a strong contingent. To say, oh, it's a small minority, it's like only 5%. No, 10%, 10 to 15%, while small, if that 10% buys all the tickets, or buys to see a movie several times in theaters for their entire family, buys all the merchandise, buys the Blu-rays, that 10% makes up for a heck of a lot more, and is more than just a small little contingent. So I love how this article is already starting off the bat by saying a small but painfully vocal contingent. Painfully vocal? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that having an opinion, being critical of a film, was something that should cause pain. Again, all we are trying to do is just be honest about how we feel, just to be honest about what's been going on, because it doesn't matter whether you agree with my opinion of Last Jedi or not. If you don't agree that Rian Johnson has just been a total tool towards the people who've been critical of his film, you are just living in a bubble. You can just read any of the tweets. They're everywhere. You can find them where he just attacks the fans, calls them man babies, calls them an entire variety of different names, all because they didn't like his film. And then he mocks the people who want to remake Episode 8, and you can be critical of it. You can say, oh, I don't know how well it's going to do, but just to be as a total troll in a lot of ways as what he's been doing is just not a way to do it. Again, especially someone who is as big of a director as he's supposed to be, it just doesn't make any sense. All right, so despite the relatively lackluster performance, no, not relatively lackluster, it was a bomb. It will lose at least $200 million. What don't these people understand? Are these people just not looking at the same numbers? They're for anyone to see. Go check out, Box Office Mojo yourself. There's several other sites that have the numbers on there. Do your own numbers. Break down your own percentages, and you will see the same thing that all of us see. That The Last Jedi made $700 million less than The Force Awakens. That this film, Solo, is going to lose $200 million. Again, it might just break $400 million at the box office. They will only take 60% of that total, and it costs roughly $500 million to make. you do the math yourself and tell me if you come up with something different, because apparently these people are getting totally different information. So they say that it potentially leads to a freeze on any other spin-off stories for the time being. Disney is reportedly moving ahead with the new planned trilogy for Star Wars films to be spearheaded by Rian Johnson. Yeah, the whole thing has been spearheaded in that way, where literally it's just been torn apart by Rian Johnson. Israeli website From the Grapevine interviewed Johnson's business partner Ram Bergman, and the producer confirmed the plan. It's a complete new trilogy that writer-director Rian Johnson, my partner, is going to create, Bergman said, causing a legion of angry, insecure a-holes who chased Kelly Marie Tran off social media to feel a strange pulsing migraine beginning in the back of their minds. It's all new characters. Everything is new. Okay, so again, this is a website trying to act like it's a news website who's just adding in all of these anecdotes that are totally off base. Chased Kelly Marie Tran off social media. Has she even confirmed that? She has not said anything about why she got off Instagram. She has not said anything. Now, am I denying that there were probably some hateful comments at some point towards Kelly Marie Tran? No. Anyone who's online, anyone that has any following whatsoever, even me, who has such a small following, I've been attacked before. Everyone gets attacked online. It's a sad part of the reality that we live in, where people will just attack somebody for no reason. Even just the dumbest reason whatsoever, people will attack anybody. So no. Just because there were some people who attacked her, because there are people who attack everybody, does not mean that's the reason why she was, quote-unquote, chased off social media. Could it be that she's filming a movie and she decided to temporarily suspend her account because she wants to not have to be, dealing with any of that stuff during shooting? Could that possibly be it? Has no one ever done that before? Did you know that if you temporarily suspend your account on Instagram, it deletes all of your posts? No, because you probably haven't done your research. You're just spinning this narrative that has just been, at this point, totally debunked because, again, Kelly Marie Tran has not come out and said anything about this. So this is just total garbage. And for you to call people a-holes because they're being critical of Rian Johnson, I'm sorry. But the film was not very strong. There are so many plot holes. There are so many problems with the characters. Literally everything that you had set up in The Force Awakens was essentially torn apart, which is just not a good idea narratively. Again, you can have your opinion about whether you like the film or not, but you cannot deny that, objectively speaking, talking about the narrative, that what Rian Johnson did was stupid, was not very bright, was not very smart from a filmmaking narrative perspective. It doesn't make any sense, because now you have J.J. Abrams coming back for Episode 9, and he's going to have I'm assuming he's going to have his own intentions, and basically what you're going to have is a trilogy that feels like, someone said this on Twitter, and I think it really just matches up. Basically, this trilogy is going to have schizophrenia, where it's just going to be all over the place, and that's a lot thanks to Rian Johnson. So, yes, person at newsavclub.com, you go ahead and keep calling people a-holes. You go ahead and keep adding in these anecdotes in your supposed so-called news articles and see exactly what happens to your numbers overall. All right. Finishing off, it says, additionally, even though Episode 9 is set to arrive in December 2019, Bergman teased the possibility that the film of the new movies could be ready to go as soon as the following year, maybe in 2 years. It's just in the early stages, he said. Left unsaid what was the part he calls the worst parts of the franchise fan base for being man babies. We guess he's still leaving that task to Johnson and Mark Hamill, who is very, very good at it. So they just double down on that language again, calling anyone that's a critic of Johnson, anyone that's a critic of The Last Jedi, a man baby. I didn't realize that that's good for the discourse on talking about films. Oh, I don't like your movie. Well, you're just a man baby. Oh, great comeback. Great criticism. How about no? How about instead you say, why didn't you like my movie? Because of this, this, and this. Oh, well, maybe you have a point there. Or, oh, I disagree with you, but I appreciate your feedback. How about that? That would be a way of going about it. Instead of, oh, it's a man baby. And apparently this is via Slash Film, so let me just double check to make sure who actually wrote this article. So this is Alex McLeavy, so it looks like they took and copy and pasted I don't know what it means by via Slash Film, because Slash Film is its own blogging website. So I don't know if that means that AV Club just decided to take the story, give credit to Slash Film to take any of the content from Slash Film. I don't really know, and I don't really care, because at the end of the day, newsavclub.com has really just shown itself to be another one of those shill media websites that's there to support Kathleen Kennedy, that's up there to support Rian Johnson, Lucasfilm, all the people who are in charge right now, who are driving Star Wars into the ground. Here's really my final thought on this. You do not have someone, as a director, as a showrunner, anyone, who will attack the fans for not liking their product. You just don't do that. And if you think that attacking the fans, that attacking people who are critical of your work is going to lead to you having a successful box office franchise with your supposed new trilogy that's supposed to come out in 2020, which I just don't buy. It does not make any sense whatsoever. Again, keep in mind, these are the same people that just like a few weeks ago were talking about Star Wars fatigue. Now all of a sudden, that whole narrative broke down, and so literally they will go to any other narrative other than the simple fact that the people running Star Wars right now, the people running Lucasfilm, are incompetent, have no idea what they're doing, are losing money for the studio, and will continue to lose money for the studio. If you have Rian Johnson greenlit to have a movie coming out in 2020, that film is, if it doesn't bomb or barely break even, it is going to be the start of a franchise that's going to be on the downward spiral, because no one is going to see the film as far as hardcore fans go, because I would say that a lot of the people, most of the people who are part of this 10, 15, however, I haven't done the numbers yet because it's hard to really gauge how many people are critical of Last Jedi or are part of this movement. All I can tell you is that it's several thousand people who are part of this movement. It's not small that you can just ignore. It's big enough to have affected the numbers of Solo, and someone can say, oh, there's so many other reasons. Yes, there are other reasons, but you cannot deny that the boycott movement, or the people who, like me, bought a ticket to see something else, or the people who were just not enthused, didn't see this movie multiple times in theaters, you cannot tell me that this had no effect whatsoever on the box office numbers for Solo. That same group, even more so, because at least with Solo, obviously we had the John Kasdan nonsense, but at least with Solo, it was a movie that had a director, Ron Howard, that was not polarizing. Again, as far as the movie goes, it was a fine movie. It was a C movie. It was okay. It was a B-level film. And even then, though, the film still lost money. Imagine you have a giant, big-budget film headed by someone who has attacked openly the fans on several occasions. See what happens. I dare you, Lucasfilm, I dare you, Disney, to release Rian Johnson's trilogy starting in 2020, and I dare you, because you will see just how big this movement actually is, and you will see it by losing so much money at the box office, not making any money on toy sales, not making any money on Blu-ray DVD sales, and I guess you just have to learn the hard way. So what do you guys think? Do you think that they're actually going to go through with this? Do you think they're just trying to blow smoke to try and, take various narratives out of the mainstream? Let me know in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate that. If you like this video, smash that like button, smash that thumbs up button, and also please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also please share the video as well. It greatly helps me out, and I do really appreciate it. So thank y'all so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.